If you watch my Twitch streams, you may already know that I'm a fan of caffeinated, carbonated, sugar-free beverages. They power my video game murder. And I've always looked out for the absolute least natural option available. A lot of people are very worried about artificial ingredients and the things they consume, but I am the opposite. I want everything in my afternoon beverage to be crafted by scientists in a laboratory. So Diet Coke, fine. Coke Zero, using a newly discovered sweetener, well, from 1967, great. Cherry Coke Zero, now we're talking. Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar with cream soda, fuck yeah. What is this? There's no natural flavor on earth that is detectable in this beverage. The good Lord could never. I love it. And why am I not worried about putting this man-made can of chemicals in my precious temple of a body? Well, that's because study after study has shown that it's perfectly safe. In fact, the FDA points out that aspartame is one of the most exhaustively studied substances in the human food supply, with more than 100 studies supporting its safety. It has no calories, it's safe to drink, and it's delicious. Sign me up. Meanwhile, consuming too much of the all-natural, blessed by God sweetener, sugar, leads to a cornucopia of disease. According to Dr. Frank Hu, professor of nutrition at the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, who published a 15-year study on the topic, the effects of added sugar intake, higher blood pressure, inflammation, weight gain, diabetes, and fatty liver disease are all linked to an increased risk for heart attack and stroke. Sweet, delicious, all-natural stroke. Despite this, the general public will never stop doing two things. One, consuming way more processed sugar than is healthy, and two, suspiciously questioning artificial sweeteners. Which brings me to today's topic. Artificial sweeteners can turn healthy gut bacteria into pathogens. Sugar substitutes could cause harmful bacteria to invade the intestine, which can potentially lead to life-threatening infections. Oh no! Artificial sweeteners can potentially turn healthy bacteria in the gut microbiome into harmful microbes and potentially cause serious health issues, such as blood poisoning, scientists have said. UK researchers have found that sugar substitutes such as saccharin, sucralose, and aspartame found in soft drinks and processed foods can cause beneficial bacteria in the intestines, such as E. coli and E. faecalis, to become pathogenic or disease-causing. Pathogenic bacteria can invade and kill Keiko-2 cells, cells which line the wall of the intestine. The researchers found that an amount of sweeteners equivalent to 2 cans of diet soft drink can significantly increase the ability of E. coli and E. faecalis to attach to Keiko-2 cells. Holy crap, 2 cans of diet soft drink is exactly the number of cans of diet soft drink I drink every day. I'm gonna die. Okay, as usual, let's put the important news up front. I'm not gonna die of sepsis. Probably. I mean, I'm probably gonna die of skateboarding because I keep doing it even though I'm terrible at it and I'm 40 years old. This study does not actually back up any of the scary claims that are in that article. So let's get into it. The big news, this study did not examine humans at all. In fact, it didn't examine any living animal at all. Like, this wasn't even done in rats. This was done in vitro, meaning a petri dish or a test tube, perhaps. This is very important because the human body is not a test tube. We have a complex system of checks and balances. And so it's much easier to make something happen in a laboratory dish than it is to make it happen in a body. Here's an example. The researchers looked at Keiko-2 cells that come from the large intestine. They put 3 artificial sweeteners, aspartame, saccharin, and sucralose, directly into those cells and found that, yep, they increased the production of biofilms, potentially dangerous clusters of bacteria. That would be bad if aspartame ever even made it to the large intestine where the Keiko-2 cells are found. But it doesn't. As summarized by the European Food Safety Authority, Aspartame is fully broken down in our gut to aspartic acid and phenylalanine, which are absorbed and enter our body. In addition, the methyl group from the modified phenylalanine is released in the gut to form methanol. Methanol is also absorbed by the body, and most of it is used to produce energy. All the scientific studies to date in animals and human volunteers have shown that the breakdown of aspartame in the gut is very rapid and complete. No aspartame has ever been found in the blood or any organ after ingestion. Any organ, including the intestine. These researchers put aspartame on cells that are physically incapable of ever seeing a single drop of aspartame. As for saccharin and sucralose, they may be able to make it to the large intestine, but in extremely small amounts, not the total amount that you find in a can of soda. Other research has shown that you need to consume a massive amount of them to affect your gut microbes. So right there, we can say that this study is effectively useless. Drinking 2 cans of soda with any of those sweeteners will not affect your cells the way that the cells in this study were affected, because 2 cans worth of sweeteners will never come into contact with those cells. And in the case of aspartame, the most common sweetener used in diet sodas, 100 cans of soda won't ever hit those cells. You could do Coke Zero keg stands all day long and not a single molecule of aspartame will ever shake hands with the CaCO2 cells in your large intestine. So yeah, that would be enough to let you know that you shouldn't pay any attention to this study. But just for fun, here's another reason. They didn't bother to use any real controls. Well, they did have one control. In addition to E. coli and E. faecalis, they also tested the sweeteners on Staphylococcus, a bacteria that is not found in the gut. Now, I'm no scientist, but when I read quotes from a study author like, "We know that overconsumption of sugar is a major factor in the development of conditions such as obesity and diabetes. Therefore, it is important that we increase our knowledge of sweeteners versus sugars in the diet to better understand the impact on our health." When I read that, I would assume that the control they're using to compare sugar to sweeteners would be sugar. Sugar. Like, if you want to better understand sweeteners versus sugars, maybe you should compare those two things in your study, the study you're talking about. Just saying. And then, I don't know, just for fun, maybe throw in a few other sugar substitutes that scientists have already found can reach the large intestine in decent amounts, like isomalt, maltitol, lactitol, and xylitol, instead of aspartame, which we know goes nowhere near the large intestine. And for God's sake, study them in the actual amounts thought to be able to make it to the large intestine, not the entire amount found in 2 cans of soda. They didn't do any of that, and they still got published. How? Well, this paper was published in the International Journal of Molecular Sciences, a product of Multidisciplinary Digital Publishing Institute, MDPI. MDPI is well known to be a predatory/questionable publisher that has a mission to earn as much money as possible through article submissions, leading them to regularly accept questionable papers. And they are known for aggressively spamming academics to edit special issues, often in fields that are far away from the expertise of the recipient of their frequent and insisting emails. They boast of an extremely fast turnaround time of 20 days from paper submission to first decision, and an analysis run by Paolo Crosetto, director of research at a French institute, found that it was only 25 days in total between submission and acceptance, including revisions. Way too short of a time to allow for proper editing and proper vetting. A classic story. Researchers with a crappy, inconclusive study pay big bucks so that a predatory journal publishes them, and then a press release gets picked up by science news outlets like Eureka Alert and Science Focus. Soon it'll leak onto Facebook, my mom will see it, and I will once again be shamed for bringing that dangerous Coke Zero into her house the next time I visit. And that's how your bad science sausage gets made.